The Evil Within is a survival horror game developed by Tango Gameworks, released in 2014, directed by the beautiful grandpappy that made these. He also designed Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Goof Troop? What the f? Now, while I have your rapper in short attention span, it's time for a small gamer history lesson. If you're still here, you're probably wondering how the grandfather of survival horror and the biggest horror game franchise of all time parted ways with the company he helped grow and skyrocket into one of the largest gaming companies still to this day. And look, it's not like Capcom didn't have big games before Resident Evil, but I don't think it's that big of a stretch to think that it definitely helped. I mean, goddamn.
No, that's a lot of money!
They've been around a while. On June 11th, 1983, Capcom was born from an already established company, Capsule Computers, that had been working on arcade machines since 1979. They made small arcade titles like their first Vulgus, Commando, and Ghost and Goblins, but in 1987 they released Street Fighter, and that was truly the beginning. They continued making other IPs and expanding on their existing franchises, and 3 years after this, the man himself would join the team, Mr. Shin Jeans Mukakmi. He joined purely off of a fluke, in hindsight most likely fate. A friend of mine found a flyer advertising for some kind of job fair buffet party Capcom was holding at the Hilton. He gave it to me because he knew I liked games. I mainly went because I wanted to eat at the Hilton for free. Once I started talking to the people at Capcom, I thought it sounded pretty neat, so I applied to both Capcom and Nintendo. The second round of interviews for both companies were held on the same day, and I chose Capcom. As I mentioned, he'd work on smaller projects as a junior game designer for Disney franchise games, and after the release of fucking Goof Troop, in 1993, Mikami began working on a horror-themed action-adventure game for the PlayStation titled Biohazard. The game was retitled during its English localization to what we now know as Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Originally, it was supposed to be a remake of a game called Sweet Home, but I'm assuming the project was scrapped in favor of his own creation. The whole idea was originally a response to his disappointment with the 1979 film named Zombie 2. He wanted to make his own experience with none of the faults of the movie.
We've just been informed that zombies have entered the building. They're at the door. They're coming in.
Inspired by the American horror films he was obsessed with, and thus the genre dubbed survival horror and the IP that inspired it was born. But this isn't a video about Resident Evil. This is about The Evil Within, Mikami's latest haunted vision. I say his latest because that was the last game he directed. He supervised the development of The Evil Within 2 and helped produce Ghostwire Tokyo, but The Evil Within is the last thing he directed. He left Capcom in 2006 because they ported RE4 to other consoles after making it a quote-unquote GameCube exclusive. He actually said in an interview that he would commit harakiri if the game was ported to other consoles. This dude is a little goofy goober, dude, what the f. He worked with other studios before making Tango Gameworks in 2010. Released in 2014, The Evil Within had the entire horror game community on its shoulders. Being one of the first games to really bring back true survival horror at the time, and being from the man that essentially created the genre, everybody was ready to see what he made. And they liked it, mostly. Besides digital trends that found the leveling system too complex and couldn't learn how to aim to save their lives, it was received pretty well. A few glaring issues that are still issues to this day, and believe me, I'll get to them, but it looked like he had pulled it off. But did he? Does it stand the test of time? Is it actually a good horror game? Yeah, it's still pretty good. It starts off fast. With me hitting the honorary bong rip, we speed off in a police car. The girl on the radio mentions Beacon Mental Hospital. While we get our first look at our main boy and his incredibly smooth-faced companions, the greatest police car driver of all time tells us there's been multiple homicides, and we get very subtle foreshadowing.
Doctor who went schizo and chopped up all those patients.
That's not what happened. Some patients disappeared. Some kind of scandal?
Hello?
We learn our protagonist's last name before someone blasts Drake's new album on the radio, causing us to almost fucking die. I didn't notice this before, but Kidman doesn't really react to the sound on the radio. Kinda suspicious. Clearly our K-pop star friend didn't enjoy the new album. Also, why are her eyes purple? I never really noticed how suspicious she is in this until writing it, but Anyway, with that small setup, we take control for the first time in the game. And right away, I mean, damn. This game still looks pretty fucking good for a first year PS4 Xbox game. Obviously I'm on PC, but I'm running this bad boy on my ship box and it still looks great. We open the doors of the mental hospital to blood and bodies. We walk through with Joseph before he finds the doctor who mentions Ruvik.
Are you injured? What happened here?
Impossible. Ruvik.
Checking the cameras, we get to see 3 cops get absolutely A-cabbed by the most unthreatening white dude in a robe, who then looks at the camera and anime teleports behind us, stabbing our main man with a needle. We wake up upside down and bleeding, meet a friend.
What's that thing, buddy? That's a friend right there. Oh, he's gone.
And then meet a bigger friend. We do a few jigs with the locals, snatch a knife, and cut ourselves down. I like this start. It's random, puts you right in the game, doesn't explain much. The guy isn't even that scary, I think the music just does it for me. Our big guy just chopping up meat all day listening to Beethoven. After I sneak and grab the key, I'm on my way. I unlock the door and climb the stairs.
Bro, why is he breathing on my back meat?
The most obvious tripwire of all time alerts Big Brian to our whereabouts, and the game's first chase scene starts. He slices our leg up and tries to lock us in a meat bunker, but luckily there's a perfectly placed vent we can escape from. I mean, I guess it makes sense. All the leftovers go down in the vent, but why the f is there a handle? Anyway, we jump down into the world's most scrumptious water slide, pimp limp our way around the sewers.
If you get up,
Where's the exit?
why are you asking him? He doesn't know.
Make our way up a ladder when Big Brian somehow busts on through again, forcing us to hide in a locker they could 100% clearly see into. We gotta sneak past him.
Man, f this game, dude. I don't know about this anymore, guys. Yes. Okay, go, 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 go. Oh no, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead.
I barely escape with my ass flaps intact, run into an elevator, and that's the intro to the game. We get a cool ass title screen. And the elevator opens. Somehow our leg is completely fixed with 0 medical attention, but you know, whatever. Opening the door to the hospital, we get to see that the entire city has gone to shit.
Man, you got drunk one time and the whole city's falling apart.
Connolly almost kills himself to back up and look cool while picking us up. We jump through the window of a moving ambulance, and from here on out, it's full Michael Bay. There's a random kid in the back that looks like a mental patient. We learn his name is Leslie, and Kidman gives him the most sussy look. Now, remember when I said Connolly was the greatest police car driver of all time? Well, his skills transfer over to ambulances as well, and he performs the slickest moves possible to get us out of harm's way. We get a cool shot of the entire half of the city shifting before Connolly, the GOAT, gets us through again. The city is completely destroyed now.
We went there, got there for literally 10 seconds. I looked on a camera and then there was this dude that...
Leslie starts having an episode before scary anime villain spawns in the back. Connolly overdoses on a 5-hour energy and we go right off of a cliff. And that's chapter 1. Every chapter there are these artworks with the monster you fought in them. I like it. The art in this game in general is really good, especially when you consider this is the studio's first game ever.
This is where the fun begins.
Sebastian wakes up strapped down getting rolled around by a nurse. Then someone climbs up on us and gives Sebi a smooch.
Man, can we get a fucking break?
Then we get a Silent Hill reference? We also get our first bit of green goo, or brain juice as I call it.
Oh, the brain juice. Oh my god, I've missed it.
It's essentially just the points you level yourself and weapons up with. You'll find it in jars or just scoop it up from monsters you kill. Now, I remembered this part. I had played this game before when it came out in 2014, so I was like 11 I only really remembered the safe room and one of the bosses, but besides that, I was going in blind. I avoided every review or video about this game because I've always wanted to make my own. Anyway, we get jump scared by the nurse and she lets us out.
Where's the scary lady? Oh shit, there she is.
We're in a hospital.
Hospital.
This is where we save the game and upgrade. Our safe spot.
Oh, are we gonna go to the fun time chair? Oh, I see it.
Sign in here.
Walking over to the fun time chair, we get strapped down.
What the hell? Lady, am I going crazy?
Now what makes you say that?
Waking up in a burning ambulance with next to no injuries.
Oh, so we were just actually burning and we're just, oh yeah, just go straight through the fire. Sebastian, no, it's fine.
And nobody around you, you walk around in a dark forest.
Where are you?
We figure out Sebastian has hands unlocked.
Hey, that's revolutionary.
Following the light, we see Connolly.
Okay. Damn, bro.
Having a meal? I don't know, he doing something. Pick up our first gun before he tries to get in one last brotherly hug.
I'm gonna put you down with soulless. Holy shit!
Unfortunately, we have to put him down, because Sebastian is a hardened man. Nobody can know we hugged.
Oh, dude.
We wander into a spooky cave and find ourselves a lantern, and see Leslie trying his goddamn hardest to scare us in the distance.
That's genuinely just not cool, dude.
Hospital. Hospital. Hospital! What the f?
When I leave the cave, I have a brain blast into the past, and
Oh my god, I remember this entire first half is about finding Leslie, isn't it? Oh.
the game teaches us about matches, basically the nail in the coffin for enemies. Sometimes if you think they're dead, they aren't fully dead. We see a cabin in the distance and the nurse just disappears. Going into the cabin, we find some juice and our first journal log of Sebastian.
Finally got my gold badge.
Basically just his first day as a detective. You can tell he's excited. The mirror busts open and that music starts playing.
Oh.
Shit.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
This is the greatest safe room music of all time. I don't care. The mirror transports us back into the hospital with the nurse. When we go back into the main world, we see Leslie running away from an enemy. The game takes this time to teach us how to stealth. One of the many ways we can deal with our foes in this game.
That's nice.
After we dispose of this gentleman, we find our way through and see a man having a bonfire on his lawn. Sebastian tries sparking up a conversation, but nobody in this town seems to be a good communicator.
Hey, are you guys from around here? I don't know where.
A giant light shining in the distance causes the transformation of these seemingly normal, albeit very Polish-looking people into angry barbed wire wrapped freaks. We take care of these two,
Combos?
or try to, find some goop,
Anyone got any goop?
run into a trap, and make our way deeper into the Polish village.
Oh man, how many? I got a whopping 2 bullets as well.
We really had no ammo here, so this was a much harder task than it should have been, but you're done for.
Oh man. Okay.
Finding a group of Boy Scouts, they try to take our lunch money, but we run as fast as we can across a bridge.
Why? Oh my.
Ending chapter 2 and solidifying our entry into this world that is only going to get darker. And sillier.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Oh my god. Jump in that. Oh my god. Where'd you get that bullet? Hey, oh, wait a minute.
Where'd you get that bullet though?
Also, there goes my torch. Sebastian emerges from the water completely unscathed somehow. On the shores of the main village, we need to find Leslie still.
Man, you have had a rough day, brother.
Now, astute gamers will have noticed this is very similar to Resident Evil 4. Weird village, strange virus infecting the foreigners, corny voice lines.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
It's worse every time I hear it.
This truly has all the marks of a Mikami game. Sneaking around the main village, finding supplies, and a safe room on the way. In the safe room, another note. Still talking about his first day as a detective, how he met his partner, Myra Hansen. A mystery woman at this point in the story, but someone we will come to know, and someone Sebastian wants to know a little too well.
My new partner.
Whoa, now. You got too much dip on your chin.
Sneaking around, we hear the doctor.
Who's there?
No, don't shoot. I'm not one of them.
We find him deeper into the house and we learn his name is Marcelo. We are surrounded by enemies, known as the Haunted.
They're all over the place.
We have to get through them in whatever way we see fit. The doctor runs out in some pathetic attempt to distract them, I guess? I don't know. We choose the non-stealth approach and clear out all the villagers, but they put up a fight, and don't worry. After some struggle and finding our trusty crossbow, we make it through to the gate.
Great. Something that'll get through this. Maybe a chainsaw or something.
And there's only one guy who has it. Big Brian. We find him in a barn, the fight starts, and our first boss fight commences. We outsmart him with his own trap and put an end to Big Brian. He melts into red mist or bugs or something, I don't really know. It happens a lot in the game. It trails off to reveal it was connected to the man back at the hospital, Ruvik. We steal his chainsaw to cut the chains off the gate. And the doctor appears out of thin air to follow us, ending this short chapter.
Where you at, dude?
Officer, you must take me with you.
Detective Castellanos.
Leslie
Castellanos.
It is imperative that we find him.
I was worried about saying his name like a little too white in my video, but he says it pretty white himself. Right on the other side of the gate we opened is the hospice. The doctor recognizes it and says,
Leslie was being treated here years ago. He'd come here thinking it was familiar and safe.
apparently Marcelo's brother runs this place.
It is the hospice my brother runs. He'll take us in.
We find another journal entry, this time 2 months into being a detective. Myra was shot, but lived. Sebastian says the thought of her dying before he could tell her how he felt was unbearable, so he does. We make our way onto the hospice. Before making it to the door, we hear a faint voice. It's Marcelo's brother, Valerio, but something clearly isn't right. He's peeling away at something, exposing everything. After we put him down, the room starts shaking. This high-pitched ringing starts again and Valerio appears, itching the skin off of his head. We get flashes of him in his unhaunted state before he just dips again. I don't know what the point of this was. The key we need is inside this body on the table. We skin him like Arthur Morgan and we get the key. Sorry. We leave the hospice with the doctor and continue the search for Leslie. He continues running, of course. We chase him into the basement of the house. A red glow guides us through the basement and we finally get a hold of this slimy little psycho.
Leslie. Oh, thank heavens. Dr. Jimenez is here.
Oh, man.
But nothing's there.
Scary.
This is an invisible variant of the Haunted, but with a slit down its face with tendrils peeking through. I hate these things. When utilized well, these enemies can be very scary. You can detect them in many ways, paying close attention to the environment, slight noises, puddles rippling through their footsteps. If Sebastian shines his light in the direction he thinks one might be, there will be a ripple effect identifying the direction he's in, and you can take a shot in the dark. If you hit him, he'll appear for a split second. Very annoying, but like I said, when utilized well, can be very, very effective. Anyway, the stairs leading to the basement are gone. Is the world changing, or...
We must be collectively losing our minds.
Ruvik appears behind us, grinning. He's fucking with us. The doctor urges us not to follow him, but we ain't no...
What the?
Cue the nightmare sequence. Swept away by blood, we end up back where we started. Sewer. Running to a door to escape again, we are stopped by Ruvik. Of course, it can never be that easy. He turns into the termites or whatever it is, spawns on a ton of enemies, and we have about 2 minutes to hold off all the enemies we can. Eventually, the door reappears and we are home free. Down the dark, dingy, blood-dripping hallway, there's a light. Now, I assume this was a safe room. It was not. Meet Laura. This crazy bitch is gonna chase us down the hall to a dead end, and just when it looks like it's over, a random haunted bursts on through the locked door. Let's go, baby. Thank you, buddy. We keep running, close the door on her, climb down a ladder, and get into an elevator, all while she's right on our tail. The second the elevator opens up, she spawns in it. Which begs the question, why did she not just spawn in there sooner? Bad game. We dive through a closing door like a badass, find some looty, head down the stairs, and Ruvik starts slowly walking to us. Now don't let him get close or he'll hit you with the Jedi mind powers.
Look, you running at me though. Oh.
Running up the stairs away from him, the whole damn place falls apart and we fall down, eventually twisting and turning into a hallway. Ruvik was just messing with us. He didn't want us dead. Yet. We were thrown and twisted into the hallway of a hospital.
Seems someone wants me hospitalized.
We find another journal entry. Sebastian was assigned the new partner, Joseph, the smooth-faced man at the start. He expresses his appreciation for him, but also mentions Myra said yes. Sebastian, you dirty dog. The hallway we find ourselves thrown in is filled with dust, grime, and blood. Cells with patients cowering in the corners.
Brother? You okay?
We can't leave written on the walls. We go face to face with another invisible haunted. Make our way through a hole in the ground, dropping down to a lower part of the hospital. Even the rats here are unholy.
Whoa, whoa. What the f? He had that thing on him.
Finding a few more invisible haunted. I think this is where they are best utilized. The water and blood used to find them, checking around every corner knowing you couldn't see them even if you wanted to. Them pushing over the wheelchairs, desperately trying to get to you. It works so well here.
Haha, idiot. Did he have a flip-flop on?
We find a key card to the hospital and keep moving through. Turning a corner to see Ruvik again, leading us. He knows we can't stop going down this rabbit hole. We get trapped in a white room where we can look through a small hole in a door slowly appearing. This is the first puzzle of the game, what with some Saw-type consequences. You have to select the right option for 3 rooms, the 4th opening up some sort of portal that leads right to Joseph. He's in a tub of questionable liquid.
Oh, dude, he's in a tub full of cum. Oh, look at all of that.
The ringing Sebastian's been hearing only a fraction of what Joseph goes through. It seems to be having a much worse effect on Joseph. Me and Big Joe make our way back through the hospital. He isn't much of a help at all in combat, but at least I'm not alone this time. We find a comically locked door and Joseph puts his skills to use, unlocking it with virtually no issues whatsoever. The ringing starts again and Joseph attacks us, his face pulsing and changing. He's infected, changing with the world around him. So why isn't Sebastian? After saving and monkeying about, we open up the door next to a giant room. In the middle, a box with a person in it, filling up with dirty rat water. It's Kidman, our other smooth-faced companion. Clearly a trap set for us. We look for a better... Nope. I have to fight for my life and kill enemies for 8 minutes. But we have to turn the water off. The game displays this little graphic of water level and I mean, man, how much more wrong can you be? We turn the water off and save our other partner.
What is going on, man?
Jumping into the abyss, we catch up with our lads. I clear out the enemies that live in this hole because both of our partners are lobotomized. We make our way through the abyss and start slowly getting taken, one by one. She's back. Laura. We find out our weakness is fire.
Fire seems to work.
Commence the game's first big boss fight. We have to take her out. Not like that though. We run around getting her close to explosive barrels before taking shots, also taking advantage of the environment and flipping switches to open up the doors and floors to certain fires. After Laura is finally gone, we can continue, getting some more backstory, visions of Ruvik testing on Leslie. Leslie is the key to whatever Ruvik's plan is.
You'd be what I've been searching for all these years, and under my own nose. Unbelievable. This one is compatible.
But this is where it starts to get real freaky.
What in the hell?
A vision appears of us strapped down again, a needle getting pushed into our eye. We're back in the police station with the nurse. A tease of what's to come on the table. Newspapers about a church floor collapsing and the miracle. Pictures of the abandoned church thrown around the table.
Photographs.
The last one, a mysterious hole.
Are
Our safe place is no longer safe. We move down into the hospital, further than we've ever been. We see flashes of him, and find Leslie hiding in the corner, or a mirror-faced Leslie.
You can say my name.
I don't know, this part is kind of stupid. Sebastian wakes up in the daytime in a random building. The stair is very similar to the original staircase we fell down at the end of chapter 4. This part of the game is absolutely beautiful, a sharp contrast to the dark and scary parts of the village and hospital.
Am I playing fucking Dark Souls 2? What is this?
Continuing down the path, we hear gunshots. It's Joseph. He's not doing too well though. A horde of haunted bursts through the gate and we run. Another comically secured door is blocking us, but for some reason Joseph can't unlock it as fast as he could last time. So it's up to me. Again, this part is kind of hard, and it's so long I almost feel like it's a good time to just get this out of the way. After playing Resident Evil 4 for the first time last year with the remake, I am very surprised that the combat in Evil Within isn't loved as much as it is.
Oh,
It may not be as flashy, but man is it similar. Managing your bullets and managing your distance, using the environment to your advantage, using their own traps against them, red barrels, whatever you can get your hands on. The gore in this game is genuinely pretty impressive. I mean, you can shoot a hole clean through someone's face and then shoot someone else through that same hole. There's a ton of brutal death animations for Sebastian as well. A wide variety of weapons to use during the story, and all have their own use. The best being the harpoon launcher, of course, because, well... Another thing that I think speaks volumes, and maybe it's just a me thing, I have never, in my life, played a third-person shooter where the controls and aiming felt spot on right out of the gate. I didn't change a single setting. I don't know what they did in this game, but aiming feels so smooth and responsive. Almost more so than the brand new Resident Evil 4 remake. I think this game's combat is pretty fun. My only complaint is some of the bosses, but we'll get there. And the enemy variety wasn't utilized very well. It's mostly just the haunted the whole way through, which isn't bad, but I think they could have spruced things up a bit. This is a very competent third-person action survival horror game. You always have just enough supplies to complete the encounter, but also never feel comfortable enough to get complacent. Anyway, back to it. We get through finally, unlock a new weapon, and get to an even longer combat section. This one's pretty fun though. We move through these broken down buildings, sniping people, sneaking them. We fight hordes while getting sniped at from these elevator type things. We clear everybody out, and then he's back. Big Brian wants my cheeks, but I'm a married man. He cannot have me. After a solid hour of fighting, we make it through. Another journal entry confirms that we are indeed a married man, and have a daughter on the way. Lily.
Oh, little Lily. As a result of our love, I can't wait to meet you.
Someone very important to the future. Sebastian is scared of being a dad. The scariest thing for a man. He's gonna do great though. Joseph and I hop in the alley and keep moving to a bridge.
Almost like someone's toying with us.
Oh, you don't say. We roll up to some medieval shit and Joseph throws the game because he's an absolute idiot. Blowing up the bridge, Joseph is being kidnapped, taken to a guillotine. We snipe them one by one through small gaps. Honestly, we probably shouldn't have. We take in another gorgeous Dark Souls 2 view and keep moving. Joseph takes Sebastian's gun. He knows he's gonna turn.
It's just a matter of time.
I agree. No, actually.
But Sebastian saves him. He won't allow his partner to die. There's no other choice but to move forward, find another village with a voice recording from Ruvik.
Father was a stern man, proud, and I thought intelligent. Somehow he always supported the church no matter what the newspaper said. He waved away the allegations as if they were infallible.
Maybe left here from him to give us a better understanding of his motive. Further through the courtyard, Joseph points out how everything looks.
More like when? This architecture seems straight out of the Middle Ages.
But there's electricity, elevators.
It's like jumbled up memories.
We are in someone's mind. Whose? I don't know yet. With Joseph's condition only getting worse, we need to take shelter for a moment. Seb reaches for his flask, realizing it's empty, before we get more backstory on the relationship between him and Joseph.
Is this what it was like, Seb?
Seb?
Accident?
Well, I never put a gun to my head.
No, of course not. Just quietly sank into a bottle.
The IA report, Internal Affairs, was probably about Sebastian drinking on the job.
No, I didn't report you because I was worried about your work, Sebastian.
Apparently, it never affected his work though. I find that hard to believe.
I feel like
We don't have time for
like,
this.
and he like died a
Need my
lot.
partner here.
I come up with some game theories.
So like, Okay, wait a minute. All the pictures are of the church that we're at. But when I come back, I'm always staring at the mirror. I think this is my mind, isn't it?
Grab some upgrades, and continue the journey. Nearly to the church from the pictures, we hear Leslie screaming. It's Kidman. She's taking Leslie into the church.
Who is Leslie, man?
We have to catch up and make our way through the graveyard, with Joseph attempting to cover us with a rifle. Unfortunately, we have bigger issues to deal with. This is Zen and Nguyen. An experiment on conjoined twins gone wrong. After we take these dorks out, Joseph jumps down and we keep going through the graveyard. Joseph uses his big brain to solve a hidden puzzle somehow, and it reveals a hole, transporting us back to the police station. Not the same hole the scary demon came out of, so that's a good sign at least. Sebastian wakes up next to Joseph. This begs the question. When Seb goes to the police station, or his mind, or whatever the hell it is he physically gone? Or is he just standing there like a sleep paralysis demon? I need to know. Back to the scary stuff again. No more beautiful Dark Souls vistas. Bodies, and a bunch of dudes in potato sacks. Welcome back home. We are greeted instantly with a puzzle about torture. I remember this from when I was a kid.
I remember this.
We have to figure out the correct way to sacrifice these potato sacks. If we get it wrong, then... There's 4 numbers on the wall, 3, 5, 9, and 7, with 3, 5, 9 being crossed out. Each of the tables has corresponding numbers. Very easy puzzle. Baby puzzle, in fact. We get into a fun little lobster cage and get raised up. This place is an underground lab. All of the experiments, such as Zen and Nguyen, taking place here. Lab notes explaining their situation. We make a left turn and see pictures of a dog on a whiteboard. Another experiment.
Oh, what is that?
Another tease of what's to come. Just kidding, he's right around the corner. Centennial, probably the most disgusting of all the experiments. This poor pupper.
Full Metal Alchemist! Full Metal Alchemist.
We make it out of hell itself, and we are one step closer to the church. We gotta put him down, for his own sake. As a child, this boss took me hours, and now, I just whooped it in 2 seconds.
That was it?
Just kidding, Joseph dropped his glasses. Seb runs in and gets the glasses. Joseph says the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and
It's not just about being unable to see. It's about feeling normal.
we continue as if nothing ever happened. We have made it, finally, to the church. Finally inside the blessed church we've been looking for, we get a little heart-to-heart conversation from Seb and Joe. He explains the feeling this world, or
Sebastian.
mind, is making him have.
You ever had the urge to just jump? Imagine if you had that urge for a minute straight.
The ringing starts again, contorting the world around us. It's Ruvik. He's here. Throwing everything into chaos and throwing us into a different area. Again, a Bloodborne-esque area with a million candles. I mentally prepare for the worst/best boss in the game, the Keeper.
Oh shit.
He's so much bigger than I remember.
This boss absolutely terrified me as a kid. We have to find 3 slabs to unlock the door to him. We have one already. Sliding it in opens the door next to us. A strange purple gas being pumped into the hallways and a brand new enemy, Alter Egos, a slimy, repulsive creature, with the face of who they used to be peeking out. They have an alien-like parasite that shoots out to grab you. I do not like these things. We delve deeper into the Keeper's lair. He traps us. The room fills with purple gas. Turning the gas off before Sebastian dies, and fighting a few more haunted, we find another one of the slabs. Getting the next slab is basically just clearing a bunch of enemies and doing a few environmental puzzles that were alright, nothing special. Finally, with this last slab, we get our reward, or our punishment. We face the Keeper. We make it through the death hallway of barbed wire mines and the old squisher. Leslie's caged up, presumably taken by the Keeper. They need him alive after all. He's the key to Ruvik's plan. Leslie runs through and trips a wire, trapping us with him. You really can't get a break, huh, Sebastian? We fight the Keeper, throwing everything we have at him. Stunning him with the bolts so he doesn't rush us with his bag of heads and his hammer. We blow him up, but no, of course not. It's the evil within. The room fills up again, leaving us with a limited time to turn it off. As we do, he reappears. The real boss fight starts here. We have to juggle turning the valves off and doing damage. It's pretty stressful and well done. The tension of turning the valve off and hearing the hammering of metal, it's pretty spooky. We finally get some space from him, and then he game ends himself, just to get to us. We run and lock the vault behind us. One of the safe heads jumps at us. But that's the worst decision Buddy ever made. We toss him down, he fully spawns in. killing the Keeper. Right? Underground, this is probably the shortest chapter. We fight a bunch of nutsack heads, run through the underground, open some gates. A bunch of baby alter egos burst through the wall. These things are hilarious, also kind of sad, implying these could be kids they use for the experience, but I'll just imagine they're small people. Making it fully through the cave, we find a door. Clearly booby-trapped. Putting the wrong side of the slab causes, well, you know. All of a sudden, we're back in the hospital. The same hallway we've run through countless times now. Marcello at the end of it. Sebastian finally asks what is going on, and Marcello budges.
I can't help if you leave me in the dark, Doc, and you need me to help.
We.
He explains him and Ruvik were working on a way to link brains together.
It's like linking brains together.
We can all influence the world inside the mind, but only Ruvik can make conscious influence.
That was such an unstable host.
So your research partner is a psychopath, and we're all inside his head.
Not exactly, no. Both of us are contributing on some level, but he's the only one with conscious influence.
AKA teleporting us from one place to another.
What does he want?
Well, it's just a theory.
Again!
I'd say he wants us dead.
We get another journal entry showing their daughter Lily was born and is in preschool now. A list of prior connections gone wrong. 22 people dead before it finally worked with Leslie. A giant monster appears from thin air. We run to our safe room. But it's too late. We aren't safe in our own mind anymore.
No. He's in our safe room now? Okay.
Chapter 9 starts off with another red flashback sequence, this time outside in a bright sunflower field instead of the dark halls of the hospital. These are someone else's memories, but whose?
Detective Castellanos.
Was that someone else's memories?
Back in the hospital station, we upgrade, get more supplies, and find the picture of a family of 4. One of the faces completely gone. Cockroaches pour out from the opening. Is this Ruvik and his family? The ambience of the police station completely different now, much warmer and yellowish. Opening a door, we flash into the forest. A silly little dancing sunflower greets us. Before Ruvik ruins the mood, transported to another spooky forest, we make our way to a gate. A giant Scooby-Doo mansion on the other side, begging us to enter.
I've never been here before, but...
Leslie and Marcello already on the other side.
Hey! Stop, damn it!
Marcello is keeping him from us now? Another 3-step door to open. We have to go through this house of horrors. This part kind of sucks a bit, and it's quite long. It's not horrible, but this house is a maze and it's easy to get lost. Going to the left side first, we do some DIY surgery on a brain on a table. We get a flashback of Marcello and Ruvik as a child. He built his own lab as a kid, shy of his gross experiments.
Experiments. I can show you things.
You wouldn't like them. You'd think they're gross.
Back in the main hall, one of the locks is lifted. We find an upper dial and continue through the mansion maze. We find another brain, do more surgery, another important flashback. Ruvik, covered in bandages, holding a knife.
You know how satisfying that look on your face is? Did you actually think if you locked me away, I would just cease to exist?
Ruvik schizo rambling about how they locked them away and tried to forget. This mansion is Ruvik's childhood house. One more lock to go. Another journal entry. Lily, Sebastian's daughter. She died in a house fire. The incident that started Sebastian's spiral in work. The parallel between the Ruvik and Lily is clear. Both children trapped in a fire, although Ruvik survived. Finding the last brain, this time hitting the hope part of the brain. Cool revelation. That beautiful safe room music, that's Ruvik playing it.
The hospital has not received the family's usual donation this year.
Marcello confronting Ruvik about the hospital stopping the donations.
Anything worthy of donation.
The Victoriano family has always been a generous contributor. Where are your parents?
We can finally move on. Through the giant spooky door into an even spookier hallway on our way to Leslie. Ruvik tries his hardest to be scary, fails completely.
It's not scary, dude.
We loop through the red mist-covered rooms until more flashes appear. Ruvik turns into a giant mist monster, the room expanding and placing tripwires in front of us. It's going full freaky mode now, folks. Giant mannequin heads spread around. with gates closing right in front of us. We make it to the bright light, opening a door into a giant sunflower field. The barn in the distance. Making our way to the barn, flashbacks of young Ruvik and his sister.
I can hear you breathing.
The locals with torches in the distance. They want to make this rich family pay for taking their land.
Who really owns these parts?
Surely they didn't know Ruvik and his sister were playing in that barn.
Hey, I think there's kids in there.
I didn't hear anything.
What?
This is the catalyst to Ruvik's situation, or his real name, Ruben. The reason he started doing experiments. His sister, Laura, dies in the fire. The same fate we gave to her as her monster self. We need to escape the burning barn. Lowering on an elevator and shooting it to get back up, we climb out.
Damn, dude. Not the dust mites.
Fighting this giant red dust mite man is as simple as surviving a few waves of enemies without being touched by him. Dust mite version of Ruvik grabs Laura's body, shouting out we did this to him.
I don't even know who you are.
We make our way even deeper into this unrelenting nightmare. Down a very Silent Hill-inspired giant ladder, filled with spiderwebs and chain link fence, we hear more dialogue confirming Ruvik's real name is Ruben. The name, Ruvik, Ruben Victoriano, given to him by whoever is running this experiment taking place inside his head. We find another schizo talking about the world. He explains this place is twisted by Ruben's hate, and the only way to get out is to stop him.
Do you have any idea why this world is the way it is? Hate. Ruvik's hate. The man's consumed by it. He wants out. This world exists as long as he does.
Jumping back into his mind, we continue through the dirty red-lit hallways before getting to a big pitch-black area with tripwires and bombs. We gotta sneak. Or at least we should've.
Kidding me, bro. Who's shooting at me?
The lights blast on and we get a look at our surroundings. A carnival ride with bodies and a giant blade strapped to it.
This place is...
We need to avoid the blade while fighting and making our way through. We stick the do thingy into the doohickey and open up the locked door, say goodbye to the death ride and continue on. Going further down,
That?
another locked door. Now, if you've been actually paying attention, you'll realize there are a lot of locked doors. This is the thing in most games, but I feel like in this game it's basically every other thing you need to do, and it gets kind of annoying. Finally, we unlock the door. The power turns on, all the traps, and a new friend. The trauma.
Thursday afternoon?
A blind enemy that will charge you at the slightest sound. A hook and a wooden beam stick through his body. I absolutely work all these nerds, get through all the death traps, fight even more waves, and then finally make progress. A giant monster falls in front of us. We flash to a completely different place. More of Ruben's tricks. Laura is back.
What is that?
Another safe room journal entry. Sebastian is grappling with the pain of losing his daughter. He's lost himself in the bottle. He knows it, but can't stop it, like so many others. It's round 2 with Laura. She crawls around and rips the gate open.
Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh.
We get another chase sequence before we finally get our hands on her. Throwing everything we have at her, using fire to barely escape.
I got it. Holy shit.
She grabs us through the elevator, choking Sebastian.
Oh, she's choking me.
Before he manages to find the button, taking Laura's arms with us. Ruben hits on us.
You're mine.
Huh?
Do with as I please.
He's gay!
Sends us further down the elevator, somehow wrapping around back to the main hall of the mansion. A distorted, jumbled mess of memories. Finally able to head down the hall without some insane shit happening, we catch Marcello conducting experiments with Leslie and his tubs of cum. Marcello explains that Leslie has survived being linked to Ruben's brain before.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Trying to save us. Leslie has been here before. And made it back. He survived being linked to Ruvik.
That's why Marcello thinks he is the key to escaping. The high-pitched ringing starts again, this time caused by the doctor. The world slowly shifts back to reality, the first glimpse of home we've gotten the entire game. We're in a bright, clean room with multiple machines linked up to a glowing orb. It doesn't work, of course, but it's a start, a glimpse. We shift back to the nightmare, and of course, Ruben isn't going to let that slide. The monster that dropped down in front of us, this time, feet away. It's called the Alpha. A giant amalgamation of human corpses equipped with one huge peering eye that sticks out through the middle to scan for prey.
He wants the same thing as us. He wants out.
Then we get flung across realities into the back rooms, now in a parking garage. I remember this part, for reasons that were not good.
I think I remember this. It's been 9 years, but I think I remember it.
We say the game and get a daily chat with Schizo Man. He mentions STEM.
Breaking a STEM terminal?
And says Ruben is severing ties with his past. We have to go back to where it started.
All he has left is his connection to the present. The full STEM in the hospital.
Hospital?
Beacon Mental Hospital.
That's where he'll be. Waiting for him. If somebody doesn't get there first, there'll be no way out for anyone.
Now, as I mentioned, I remembered this part, because this boss is an absolute pain in the ass. You're supposed to do it stealthily, but I did not know that, so I spent a good amount of time trying to just brute force it, doing absolutely no damage.
It's been years, pussy boy. I didn't forget. Did you forget?
We have to hide. Eventually, he'll pop his giant eye out to scan the area, and that's when we shoot it. Doing this a few times while avoiding his initial rage, he will eventually open up his little crevice and rush you. Tossing a nice little explosive in his mouth should do the trick.
Look at him.
Finally, we beat this thing, after like an hour, legitimately. Going up the elevator ends chapter 10. It only gets harder from here. We fall a good 20 stories in the elevator. Completely unscathed. Again, Sebastian's that guy. A flash of light, or a beacon, shines through the crease of the elevator. Beacon Mental Hospital. We're back in the city, the same city that had been completely destroyed hours ago. This is definitely the coolest environment in the game for me. Just a giant city destroyed you have to make your way through. The power is still turned on, so the sound of carousels and the lights of every building still on. The city is wrapping around itself, crushing everything slowly. Everything but the hospital. We get jump scared by some falling objects and make our way through the destroyed modern apartment building. Find a Rick Grimes gun sitting in a box. The buildings keep shifting, causing us to have to find new ways through. After a bit of traveling through the city, we fall into the water below. A new challenger approaches, this time a water-type Pokemon. The Shigayo? We have to make our way through the monster-infested waters by using dead bodies as bait. This part is good. Makes me clench my cheeks even though I know he won't get me. Out of the water and back in the city streets, a fake version of Rubik greets us, with a bunch of his silly little friends. Dealing with them, we get forcefully pushed into our safe room. Our safe room has been decaying slowly, the paint peeling off the walls and the building crumbling as if it had been caught in the destruction of the real city. Once we leave, we're met with another combat section. We clear everyone out, turn on the generator, and keep moving. A nice little on-the-rails shooting section happens. After we get through the slowest moving thing ever, we cross over through more destroyed buildings into an office building. We see Kidman being chased and trapped on a balcony. We have to help her. Making our way onto the balcony through the water, we save Kidman. After we clear some enemies, we run down a few floors and catch up with Kidman.
I'm so glad you're all right. Ever since the church,
You were at the church?
Yeah, Joseph and I. He's in bad shape, or at least he was when I last saw him.
But she seems more interested in Leslie.
What about the boy from the hospital? Leslie?
None of the symptoms Joseph was having are happening to her. Or really even Sebastian for that matter. Until now, something from the ceiling drops on or into Sebastian, causing the high-pitched sound to come back, turning Seb into one of the haunted.
On me.
Kidman shoots us as we rush her and we wake up in the same room, alone. Leslie slowly opens up a locked door for us before he gets scared and runs off again. As we have done so many times before this, we chase Leslie into the maze, filled with flammable gas, mannequins, and traumas. We can't use any weapons here, so we have to sneak. Sebastian breaks some ankles and turns the gas off with a valve. Clearing the enemies without the threat of exploding, we find a key card and make our way up the ladder through this hellhole. Back on a balcony, we see another one of our companions. This time Joseph. He's actually still alive. Sebastian and Joseph finally are together again. We are so back, boys. Joseph says he hasn't had any episodes recently. Then he shows us the boss. Kidman appears out of nowhere, running from something.
What are you doing?
From the heresy. This is the ugliest damn one in the whole game. A giant spider-like abomination mixed with like fetal alcohol syndrome Bane from Batman. He spits out little roly-poly guys before Kidman gets the bus back up and running. Now the chase starts. Just when it looks like it's Jover, Joseph explains his game theory and
We seem to be moved around an awful lot, almost as if by someone's will. The light, Beacon Mental Hospital, it's always in the distance.
then gets sniped.
Joseph, no!
We gotta save our partner. We run around trying to get to an ambulance to get a first aid kit. Right when we finally get there, they pull up in some twisted metal shit. We have to duck under cars to avoid the gunfire, slowly inching closer. We jump on the back and take control of it, blasting everyone away.
Whoa.
Getting back to the bus just in time to save Joseph. In the smoothest controlling bus ever, we roll through everyone.
I'm driving?
Before the main man, Ruben, throws us into zero gravity or something. Throwing Seb and Joe into a hotel and separating us from Kidman. Again. I'm getting real sick of this bullshit. Sebastian and Joseph wake up after being absolutely rocked, in a hotel hanging on its last leg. Another journal entry, Myra left. Sebastian, in complete denial, can't accept that maybe it's because of the alcohol. The hallways of the hotel littered with acid traps. We get a cool shot of the destroyed city again. Joseph notices a subway sticking out through all of this. A nice little bridge we can cross. That's our goal. Sebastian separates from Joseph on accident. The Keeper is back, this time in the tight hallways of the hotel. Dealing with a ton of enemies, we finally make progress towards the ground floor, the sound of metal scraping through the hallway. We can fight him, but you can also sneak behind him and keep your distance so he doesn't see us. Eventually, he'll move on. Harnessing our inner rat, we go through the vents, jumping down the building while it's falling down, cutting through more sections of the hotel. In the kitchen of the hotel, we see Joseph being chased by the Keeper. Ruben turns the kitchen bloody and filled with booby traps. Little killer Roombas spin around, coming for our ankles. We gotta shock them, making our way through every trap possible. Catching up with Joseph and the Keeper in a meat-hanging room. Joseph goes down the tiny elevator and we are left for round 2.
You again?
We absolutely destroy him and call the tiny elevator back. We get stuck though, of course. Pitch black. All we can do is listen to the elevator struggle. Finally at the ground floor, peeking out the window, we see Kidman leading Leslie to a playground. Coming out the godforsaken building, we see something oddly beautiful. The area around Leslie and Kidman bright and untouched by the nightmare. Bubbles in the air instead of rain. This can't be Ruben's influence. It's Leslie's. We all have an influence here. That's why Sebastian gets the journal entries and newspapers taunting him. This is a shared consciousness with only one host, Ruben. Kidman says she's here to protect Leslie. The world stops. Leslie knows something's wrong. Kidman's about to put him down like Lenny before Sebastian pulls up, Mexican standoff style. Joseph hiding behind her as well. Orders were to keep him away from Ruben, not protect him. That's the only reason she's here. She's the only one that knows why we are here. The purple eyes, not reacting to the sound. She knew the whole time. Joseph rushes, jump scares autistic Leslie and he screeches, tearing the whole place up. Leslie waddles away and Kidman accidentally shoots Joseph. This world is even angrier now. Inching closer to the finish line, we're in a dilapidated subway now. Finding another journal entry towards the start, Myra did leave, but not on her own choice. She had to leave. Her quote-unquote investigation got too close to the truth, clearing a ton of sillies and climbing into a few trains, the bridge above us, the one we had seen with Joseph. We find our way up through some of the nasty environments in the game, breathing pus-filled hallways. But not before finding one of the most damning journal entries. The evidence Myra provided Sebastian before leaving suggests that their daughter's death was not just an accident, but something far more nefarious. These hallways are filled with alter egos, and something much bigger. Stealing fuses from one box to put in another, we drain the sewer water and find a ladder, leading us to a giant room with like 10 alter egos. Right after getting out of there, we are greeted by the Squid Man. He tries to take us into his hole, but we slap him up.
My brother and Christ Almighty? Christ Almighty?
Using the fuses we've been finding, we use our electrician skills to fix it. It's boss time now. The Quell. A giant tentacle monster that can turn invisible, shoot out purple poison, and lay larvae. This guy's a proper pain in the ass, probably one of the hardest bosses in the game. But he's fair. He hides around the arena giving birth. We have to find him and light him up without getting touched. We finally put that little Squidbilly down. Turning the Jenny on now, up the lift, to the train bridge. Ruben throws pieces of metal into the train with the words, "You will suffer." Very cheesy, Ruben. Very cheesy. Seb jumps off the train right before it falls off like that one Call of Duty Ghost map, and we teleport back into the lab hallway. The same one we've opened time and time again. A flashback of Ruben and Marcelo. Marcelo has been taking credit for Ruben's work, trying to write him out of the picture. 3 men in suits show up approaching Ruben. I'm assuming they forced him to either finish the experiment or forced him to become the host.
You wouldn't dare. You couldn't complete it without me.
Precisely.
The giant brain and machine flash again. We have to unplug more haunted, or mental patients, from the machine. We unplug the last one before it explodes. Flashes of the future appear just one more time. Flashes of Kidman's face in the dark red we have come to know. Sebastian walks on screen, shoots us. Another dream. The police station completely on its last leg. Tatiana is missing. The IA report Joseph and Sebastian mentioned hours prior, taunting us. Whispering in the waves of darkness echo through the building. It's Leslie again. He turns around, this time being coherent.
This way.
Telling us to follow him deeper into the mental hospital, presumably. The building shaking and leveling again like it has so many times. We wake up right in front of Beacon Mental Hospital.
Beacon, just like Joseph said.
Opening the doors up like we had at the start, heading to the basement, running through all the places we did at the beginning. Going deeper and deeper. Riding the elevator that saved us from Big Brian, we go to the courtyard. We see Leslie smiling, enjoying the rain. Running into the lighthouse, Ruben knows we're getting closer. The schizo man warns us to watch out for Ruvik's eye.
Watch out for his eye. If you want to live, you avoid Ruvik's eye. Watch out for his eye.
We see Ruvik taking the cops out in the hallways, this time in the hallway instead of watching on the camera. Ruvik tries to choke Sebastian, but we smack that boy over the head with our lantern, causing him and the place to start on fire, the cause of his initial trauma. We've royally pissed him off now. He takes control again, putting us deep into his mind. This is his last stand. He will throw everything he has at us, and I mean everything. So many enemies. Multiple different keepers at once. This is the hardest section of the game, also the most padding of any section. Making it through waves and waves of every type of enemy, and Big Brian with a rocket launcher. We move on to more sections with snipers, and get to the section with 2 keepers at the same time. We lay both of these silly billies up and our exit appears. Sorta. Ruben's eye at the very end of this weird runway. We have to avoid the light touching us while making it to the end, putting us back where we were, in front of the lighthouse elevator. Going to the very tippy top, we arrive. A tube of flesh wraps around the obvious machinery. We look down through the glass under our feet. It's Sebastian in the tub, linked up to the machine. We're seeing glimpses of the real world now. Leslie runs away from Kidman, taking shelter behind Sebastian.
Sebastian, get away from him. Sebastian, listen to me. Stop. Your interests are the same as ours.
Look, I get it. You're not just some rookie detective, and this is not just some ordinary kid. You killed Joseph and you shot me. So right at this moment, that's enough reason for me not to trust you.
You know who this kid is. If you know anything, you know why he can't be allowed to live.
Bullshit. It's Ruvik. He's the one that...
the machine whirls back alive, the ringing pitch transporting us back into Ruvik's mind fully. Leslie gets turned into a Capri Sun and we get launched out of the lighthouse. Dropping in like Fortnite directly on his brain. The world around us completely destroyed now, nothing resembling home. The final boss, Amalgam, Reuben. We run from him with our final chase scene, get knocked into a truck with a turret on it. I know, what are the chances? We light his ass up, hitting the protective glass dome covering on his brain. He throws us again, and... Big Brian, the main man, the first enemy we faced, he saves the day. That's why I gave him that name. We fire rockets directly at Ruvik while bleeding out. We both fall right next to each other. One last move from both of us. Checkmate, pussy. We wake up in the cum tub. Unplug from the machine and look around. Reuben's brain in the middle, powering it all. We throw it on the ground and smash it into pieces, ending the nightmare. We wake up, but for real now.
Leave that one. And those two. They're not going anywhere. No one can.
Looking around, Connolly and Marcella both dead in the tub. Leslie's missing, but he's still alive, taken by whoever runs this experiment now. We walk down out of the mental hospital through blood and bodies.
Go! Detective, are you all right? Is there anyone else?
Just give me some real fresh air.
Walking out, we see Leslie in the distance. A slight ear ring, and he's gone. Did we actually get out? Are these just side effects? These are the questions the game leaves you at the end, begging to be answered with the sequel. And there it is, The Evil Within. What a ride, man. A giant nightmare from start to end. There are some DLCs I haven't played and an entire sequel, so if this video does well, I'll probably make some videos on them. Drop a like, comment, share the video, all that stuff if you want me to make another one. Overall, I think this game still holds up to me. And playing it now after playing the Resident Evil 4 remake last year, I can't believe this game isn't more highly regarded. I guess because it's more spooky and kind of a Resident Evil ripoff. They borrow a lot of things, the quips, the zombie non-zombies, the experiments gone wrong, etc., but they also have a big tone difference. Resident Evil is somewhat more lighthearted and silly, that's probably why it's more loved. The combat though, honestly, I think is better than Resident Evil 4, and it came out a while later, but I just think this game feels great. Landing your shots feel great, and everything I talked about in the combat section never really got old. Now, the constant door opening, the misuse of enemies and overuse of others. Why did they use the invisible enemy one time? The unthreatening Reuben and slight padding ending. This game has a ton of issues that definitely shine through on multiple playthroughs, but overall, as a Resident Evil type clone, I think it's great and begs for a replay with the ranking of your game at the end, just like the Resident Evil games. A childhood game of mine, one I'm very aware of the flaws of, but man, I can admit now, it's still a pretty good damn survival horror game, and this story and formula only gets bigger and badder. Thank you guys so much. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, share it. All helps so much. I love you all to death. If you made it this far, you are the greatest. You're the best. I hope you have a great day. Peace.